Now, that piece of metal just went flying. What I will tell you is try to cut in one area. Try to have a cut area. Put a tarp down because these little shards of metal go flying, and when they get into a dog's foot, that could be a bad thing, or a kid's foot. So again, you want to make sure that this little piece of metal that's sticking here is got sharp corners, and so you don't want it to just drop down where it can get into the dog's foot there. Now on this one here, it bent a little bit weird. So what I do is I will just take this and I just bend this up here so that way it's not where it needs to be at. And I actually got to cut some of that off anyway. I will have to cut some of that off anyway, and I'll show you why. So the next thing is I'm going to come here and I'm going to cut back doing the same thing. I'm going to just go right up my line there. I didn't hit my line. And I'm going to just cut it up the line, and I'm going to cut this one up the line. My cutters ain't working very good. I'm going to cut it. And again, if it don't cut all the way, you can just bend it and break it out of there. Now, what I did here is I cut a triangle. I know it's not the perfect triangle, but we're working on that, right? So what I like to do is, instead of doing another triangle here, what I like to do is I will push this in. I'm going to bend this in, and this is going to go over that. So what I need to do is I need to cut out just a little piece here, about 3/4 of a piece on the side here. I need to cut out 3/4 of a piece. And what this will allow that to do is slide in there and fold in there. So I'm going to do the same thing on this piece here. I'm going to cut it. Again, you can either use the cutters or you can just cut it off. I find that a lot of times it does better if you just break it off. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this here and I'm going to fold these in. I'm going to fold that in and I'm going to bend it around there. So then now I've got a perfect 45 degrees that I can screw in here and I can screw in there. Now I did cut a little bit high, so typically I would measure a little bit closer there. But this way, if something goes wrong and I don't perfectly get this straight, or maybe it's not straight and it's like this, if I tried to do the 245s, then what the problem of it is going to be is then you're going to have a gap. You're going to have a gap like that. So by us overlapping it, like, gets rid of that gap. So that's why if we do it this way, we can have a nice, where it comes together and it looks good, and you can screw it up there and it's going to look good. Obviously, we want this on the side that goes down. So sometimes we might need to go the other way. So that way we're not actually making a funnel of water to get in there. Not that the water should hurt anything, but it's just a way that we can maybe make it a little bit better for us on the side of there. So that's our first cut. Cut number one. Cut number two. Cut number two is one of our most used cut. This is a big used cut. And cut number two is a 45 or 90. Now, in the old days, there was a way that you did all of this crazy stuff on here and made it that way. Now, the way I do it now is a little bit different. And the reason why I do it different is because I want to make sure that it's just easier, right? I like easy. I don't like making things difficult. I like things easy. I'm all about how can I make things easier for Jason. It's not always right, but I always like to make things easier. So what I'm going to do is, this is my corner here. So this is going to be my corner here. And so what a lot of times typically I'll do is I will actually take these pieces and I will put them up wherever they need to go at. I'm going to put it up there, and I'm going to put it up where I need to go at, and I'm going to put it where I think it needs to go at. And what I'm doing is, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to get it to where it's going to go to the end of the piece right here. So once I know where the end of the piece is, what I will do is I take my marker and I just mark it right there. I'll just mark it right there. Now with a bulb here can be a little bit tricky, but I'm going to show you a way that even if there is a bulb here, we can make it work still too. So again, we're going to just put it right here. So that way I know that I need to cut this piece off.